You say that because 3 years ago I visited China, and I visit what they call the Dragon River. It's a slang name for the river. I think it's Tangus. I can't pronounce the name. And they were moving the people up to higher ground because they're building a dam. And this dam is supposed to have the power of 18, I believe it's 18 nuclear power plants. You know, and not to mention the new structure that they're building and things and stuff, and how Asia is really on the move to move up. And according to the Economist magazine, in fact, 10 years ago I read it, that the largest middle class will be Asia in another 20
That's
years.
right. That's right.
So how do we, you know, as American land, you know, and I love the sojourning that my people had here in America. But I must say this right here, that I hope that we don't get caught up in the bigotry, because that's one area that the black American, we just have no nonsense for that right there. Like we have no nonsense for someone walking in the hallway with drugs or smoking reefer. We should have no, people start talking, I just cut them off, I just can't go there. Now I'd like to go to Dr. Howard's husband, Sam Howard, and of course I'm going to pick him, of course. They're a couple now, they're a couple, and we have to show that right there. They're a couple. And I want to know, you know, your job in education and everything, and you're in the private sector, is that correct? Or?
Well, sort of in the private sector. I work for a not-for-profit company. We're probably the largest or second largest charter school company in the country. However, we're public educators.
Oh, okay.
And the one thing that I can say, and we have interesting conversations at home, being that Dr. Howard is, or Paula, as I call her, is in a public venue, and sometimes we're viewed as competition, but we only go where we're needed.
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm in the Midwest, D.C., Maryland, Detroit, St. Louis, Kansas City, Chicago, or the area of Pittsburgh, or my area, major urban cities. And having been an educator in urban cities, I'm fairly astute to what we need to do. I don't find the need to go close to home at this point. Not
Sure.
because Dr. Howard is my wife, but I'm looking at the kinds of education that is offered here in Plainfield. And you know, as a major player in the national market, it's just not a place that we feel we need to be.
Yes.
Now, there are some Jersey cities that we're going to,
Yes,
such as
yes.
Camden.
Yes, yes, thank God. Praise the Lord.
But this city is not in need of what we do,
Yes.
because they do offer a great public education, and we're a public education institution also.
Okay, okay.
So we're not private; we're public charters, and we have to work within the confines of what the state allows for education.
You know, and I'm glad you say that right there about the competition part and everything. We heard all of the rest, but you know, it's strange how black on black is viewed as competition.
Right.
2020 done a news article, a news program a few weeks ago, where two blacks was arguing in the park, and no one said nothing.
Oh, I
the
saw
guy
that.
was pushing
Yeah.
the
Right.
black woman,
Yeah, I
and he
saw
just
that.
tying her up, and then no
Right.
one said nothing.
Right.
One woman
Right.
stepped out of the margin and actually said, "No, stop."
Right.
And the actor, and it was actors, actor and actress. The woman actor, the black woman actor, cried. She said, "No one sees us as human.
Right, we're
They
invisible."
expect us to argue and fight.
That's right.
They expect us." And that right there is so crazy that we have drifted that way. We drift, and Martin Luther King talked about that years ago, how we were drifting into materialism and things of that nature. But you know, given the hand that we were served, never, and this is just from, this had nothing to do with Dr. Howard or her husband Sam Howard, this is from the church What's Happening Now, Reverend Zechariah A. Jackson. We were never given the right hand of fellowship in this country. And I am pushing day and night for Congress to come out of the House, hand the baton to our leaders. Let them pass that baton around, and then to the constituents on the mall, on Washington Mall, so we all can feel a part. Because, you know, I said it early in my sermon, is that, you know, the scar that was dug deep within our culture, it's like offending, one of us going off to school and offending that uncle that held on to what he knew.
Right.
And we come home and call him dumb.
Right.
And it's your mother's brother or your father's brother. And he's been the helpmate in the family, you know what I mean? In fact, he probably didn't have a family, so you guys could go to school, then you come back and turn against him. And although he knows that your energy level is off course, he still accepts you, but you have a apology to make.
That's right.
And you can buy them a new car, you can give them cigarettes from many, I don't want to promote the cigarette company, this is just talking from many years ago. You can give them luxuries, but until you man up or woman up and say, hey, I'm sorry,
That's right.
the healing never begins. And we have that scar, and let us pray and try to figure out how to end that right there, how to break that down, because that's something that the country, I believe, that owes us. I think that, you know, that we need that right there, because a lot of our things is a proving ground. Kind of like, I remember when I was a young lad, we used to duke it out. You know what I mean? Throw your hands, everybody duking out, duking out. And as I got older, I understood what that game meant. You know, we actually duking it out. And this right here is what's happening in America, that we're actually duking it out. And there's no room for fighting now.
No.
We are definitely, as the Reverend Jesse Jackson said, we're in one boat now. We might come over different ships, but we're in one boat now as the country sell the jobs to overseas and things. And I'm not playing them.
Right.
That's right.
But the idea is that, we're in one boat now. So we really need to come together, but there's some healing that need to be done and some things that need to be said and everything, you know. So, we're looking at about 4 minutes left, so we're going to ask Dr. Howard another question. What are some of your plans for after-school programs and everything? Do we have an after-school program here in Plainfield?
We have absolutely incredible after-school programs here. We have the 21st Century that is actually Anna Beelan Powell, who lives right here in Plainfield, is the director. And we have won grant after grant, state grants, to run 21st Century after school. Kids are given dance lessons, photography lessons. Kids get tutoring in math. They get tutoring in literacy. We have a intensive language after-school program for kids that are here that are need English language learning. We have Saturday programs. Just last night, just to tell you the richness of what's been happening in the schools. Last night I was at Barlow School where there was a production of Annie, and a fifth.
Orphan Annie?
Orphan Annie, that's right.
I often felt like an orphan here in America, so I understand that right there.
That Annie was a fifth grader here that I could have took her to Broadway last night.
Wow.
It was incredible. Also last night we had a junior prom going on.
Wow.
And I walked in and saw our children. They were beautiful. They were dressed appropriately. They were acting just like they were in a ballroom. It was just absolutely incredible. We are first in the nation with our ROTC. We were 27th with our robotics club. There are all kinds of activities happening after school in Plainfield. We just have to get the information out.
Yeah, and these are the things that we really need to get out, because, again, never heard of these things. I always hear of the negative part, that this is not going on and that's not going on, and to just to see this right here, and again, that the touching of Orphan Annie and everything, and the singing of that song, you know what I mean? I think that right there was not, that was a play for all of us and everything, to feel that orphan come into realization and stuff, What about the young parents, the young teenage parents? What programs do you have to offer them?
We actually have a program in high school where young mothers and fathers, because the fathers have to take the responsibility too, can bring their baby to the school so that they can continue their education. And we teach them parenting skills, but we also teach them that even though they have this young child, they also have the responsibility to continue with their education so that they can support this young child.
Yes. Now, see, those are things that we really need to know. We got to get that out to the community, because, again, you hear the stories, they don't exist, and I think that one reason why a lot from our own perspective is that we don't call up, we don't find out about programs and stuff. We just sit there and take the negative. So we're going to have to change that right there and get people more involved in what's actually going on in the community. Again, it's a beautiful thing to see this forum here today, and to just come down to the school. And as I said, I was at the Plainfield Library, and see the swearing in and everything, and see everybody in action and doing something and everything. It's one thing to complain, but it's another thing to get off your fanny and get out there and make things happen. And this right here is what we have here. We have Dr. Howard here, Dr. Paula Howard, and she is really making a difference in Plainfield. So the negativity that I've heard at this point here, I don't see it in everything. I have to say this way. I go back to Lenny Cathcart when he gave you all the support right there in the Plainfield High School library and everything. So right now we're ending the program and everything, and okay. All right, we're going to end the program now. This is Because National Network. Thank you, and God bless.